Hi, today we're going to take a look at Transformers Compendium 1. This is from Image Comics. This is part of their Compendium line where they take like a giant stack of comics and put it into one of these big boys. Here's how thick this is. This is the paperback edition. I love the paperback stuff because they use paper similar to the old comics, and I feel the art really works on those on that style of paper. Here, this collects Transformers 1 to 46. So not everything, but it's a good start. And Headmasters 1 to 4, which is my favorite. I love that miniseries. So Transformers, of course, was a Marvel comic that came out around the time of the original toy line and helped to promote the toy line. In my opinion, I think that the comics for everything, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that stuff, was more toy accurate than the cartoons. They were able to depict the toys as they were. Now, this is the original Transformers, how they started. Look, Ravage is the first one to talk, and Ravage never talks in the cartoon, except for Beast Wars, of course. So here's everyone in their Cybertron modes. Here's the original designs of the toys. So you see Ratchet with his they have a head here behind the windshield. And oh, here's Ironhide right here with a windshield head. So here's the original comics in all their glory. Bob Budiansky played a large part in naming and creating the characters. Really, they were designs from Japan that were ported over. Here's Spider-Man teaming up with Gears in, I think, issue 3. Pretty cool stuff. They didn't do a lot of Marvel crossovers after this. Here's Mirage. Here's Megatron. So the comics had their own continuity. Megatron gets sidelined for Shockwave here. And Shockwave defeats all the Transformers. So this is the end of issue 4. It's supposed to be a 4-issue miniseries, and of course they continued it on. Here he has all the Autobots captured. Here's Shockwave presiding over everyone. Here's Buster, who is Spike in the cartoon. Buster undergoes a sort of melding with the Matrix, and that kind of happened. Well, not really in the Matrix. It's with Optimus Prime, and that sort of happened in the movies. I can't remember which one. I think it was the second one or something. Here's the Dinobots. So as the toy line went on, the comic tried to put in more and more of the toys. Here's Circuit Breaker, and that's a character that is introduced in Transformers and then made her way into Secret Wars 2 to try and move her more into the Marvel comics. So that was another crossover. So the thing about Transformers is, because it was a monthly comic, so there's only like 12 a year. And the toys roll on and on and on. So as a result, even if you get into like the 20s, you get into like the later characters, like you get into like Ultra Magnus and all that stuff. And the future characters. Here's Jetfire or Skyfire, whatever. All the Autobots. So they're introducing more Autobots as they roll on into like wave 2 and 3 of the toys. You got Grapple, Hoist, Smokescreen, Skids, and Tracks. And there's a lot of human intrigue as well in these things. People trying to use the Transformers for their own gain. Here's Megatron and Soundwave and Ravage, all teaming up with this human. You got issue 16 where Bumblebee's beaten shot. I like this in that this looks like the toy, like totally. There's Blaster, who's a well after the original guys. Here's the mini guys. You got Cosmos, Sea Spray, Blaster. So as they went on, they they showcased more and more of the newer toys and stuff. This is a real treat, actually, because this goes, like, here's Omega Supreme. This gives you a lot, like this little tome here gives you a lot of Transformers, a lot of different eras within G1, the different waves, etc. Pretty cool stuff. I love that it even goes up to the Headmasters, which is cool. More Circuit Breaker. Here we got Menasor and I think Superion. So lots of combiner action here. Humans are wimps, so they're fighting around the Statue of Liberty. More Circuit Breaker, which, as I said, she got folded into the Marvel Universe with Secret Wars 2. You got like a fake Transformer. Megatron versus Optimus Prime. Pretty cool stuff. Megatron sitting on a big throne. So all your favorites are here. This is like if you grew up in this era, this is a trip down memory lane. As I said, like they were more toy accurate here. Here's a presumably dead Optimus being shipped off into space. Trypticon. So they go through a lot of the eras here of G1. Here's the Autobot, sorry, the Dinobots versus Trypticon, which we didn't really get in the cartoons. Blaster. I would say this is up to from 84 to about 88. Like it really jumps through all the Transformers toy waves of the time. So you're gonna get Pretenders and things. Pretty neat stuff. Sparkabots, you're gonna get them as well. Here's more combiner action. It's Bruticus, I think. Bruticus versus Defensor. So here is Man of Iron. This is adapted from a UK comic from, I think, Transformers 13 onward in the UK. So you could tell the art's like totally different, right? And so they're showing all this in color. Pretty neat stuff. It was mostly black and white in those UK comics. And here they continue on Man of Iron and conclude it, I'm pretty sure. Pretty neat stuff. A lot more shadowing and shading here. Child's Play. I remember this one. More combiner stuff. Defensor. Bruticus. Pretty neat. They look more like the toys than the cartoon. I think you saw a bit of blur here. Here's Lynx, Skylynx. It's probably not blur then, he's fighting Skylynx, but Skylynx is in this. This is when Grimlock was king of the Autobots and sentenced these kids to walk the plank. They are guilty, I remember this. Pretty neat stuff. So he has that big crown. Pretty cool. I think they've made toys of this. So here's the Constructicons. Rat-Bat. So this, I think, is the beginning of Headmasters. So Headmasters is one of my favorite miniseries. I loved it as a kid. I wouldn't read it now. It's cool, but like I mean, when I was a kid, I thought it was the greatest thing ever written. This, of course, is Scorponok and Fort Max and the four main headmasters that were the Autobot headmasters. They go to Nebulon, so this is the whole American continuity. They go to another planet. The humans on that planet form the heads of the Autobots, but the Autobots are still their own personality, and then they include their own personality. Not like the Japanese one where the head was the personality of the Autobot. So here it's Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Fortress Maximus, Highbrow, and Brainstorm. But they also had to name the characters as well, so it's like Duros and whatever. Pretty neat stuff. So this was a mini-series that introduced, that's Abominus, I think. They introduced the Headmasters and Target Masters. Pretty cool stuff. Here's Abominus crushing guys. pretty messed up. There's the bad guys forming the Decepticons. There's Decepticon Headmasters. So this is about 87. This is a great cover. I love this. I got all these signed by Bob Budiansky last year, I think. Here's Blur. And a lot of guys that were not in the cartoon, or if they were, they weren't in it much, like this dude. The cartoon did its own weird thing with the Headmasters. Well, two weird things. The American cartoon did its three-parter that did a very truncated, weird version of this where these guys are all green. And, of course, Japan did a whole season called Headmasters, which had their own Japanese continuity. So here, Headmasters dovetails into issue 38. So they have it in reading order. Pretty cool stuff. Fort Max. So they dovetail right into the Transformers main comic line. Pretty cool stuff. So you get all this in this book. Crazy. Shockwave. All this stuff. Here's the Pretenders, the Decepticon Pretenders, Skullgrin. It's just a trip down memory lane. You can hear those commercials, you know, in your head. Pretty cool stuff. Now look at this awesome cover with everyone fighting. It's issue 41. Blaster, King, Grimlock. Power Master Optimus Prime, the real Power Master Optimus Prime, not like Ginrei from Super God Master Force in Japan. More Pretenders and things. Sparkabots. Rodimus versus Galvatron. They had to figure out how to introduce all that Sharkticons because, of course, the TV show via the movie made a time jump. You saw Ultra Magnus. Quintessons, pretty cool, making their way into the comics. I'm assuming the next compendium will have the rest of the series and the movie, which was a 3-part miniseries, and probably the what do they call it? Transformers Universe, which was basically the Marvel handbook of the Transformers. It was I think 3 issues, incorporating more alien monsters like they did in season 3. Circuit Breaker is back, fighting Skullgrin. More crazy monsters. Did that guy... He looked like he was wearing like a Starfleet like insignia. Pumping up Skullgrin. Pretty cool. There's more Pretender stuff. 46. I think, is this the last issue of this? Yeah. So it goes all the way up to 46, which includes Sparkabots and Pretenders and all this cool stuff. Scorponok. Here are the monsters. I can't remember what they're called in the toy line. It's a Horrible, Fangry, and Squeeze Play. So they're Headmasters. They play a big part in the Headmasters cartoon. And they're all either fighting or fighting with Scorponok. And here's some Autobots. And that's it. This is an incredible collection. This was, in the United States, it's $65. And in Canada, it's like $87. But if you're a Transformers fan, or even if you're curious about the origins of the Transformers, pick this up. This is great. And if you were around at this time, or even if you weren't really a fan, this will probably tickle your nostalgia bone. It's pretty awesome. You know, it's amazing how much they went through in a few issues because they had to keep up with the toy line, right? With a 12-issue pace every year. But wow, like going through so many different toy lines and stuff with the Transformers at the time, in its heyday, pretty great. I highly recommend this. It's awesome. You're not going to be disappointed by this. You could leaf through it and pick up so many different memories and stories and takes on these characters you probably haven't seen before, like King Grimlock, for example. So, if you like this video, please give a like to this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Lots of great comic book stuff. So, until next time, take care.